A dead 12-volt battery in a Toyota hybrid can be confusing. The car may have a large high-voltage battery underneath it, yet the vehicle can still appear completely dead. No ready light, no dashboard, no response when you press the power button. And that's when many owners reach for jumper cables. But here's where things can go wrong. Jump-starting a Toyota hybrid isn't something you want to approach casually. The cables have to be connected to the correct points, with the correct polarity and in the correct sequence for the vehicle. Get that wrong, and you're no longer simply helping a weak battery recover. You could blow critical fuses, damage wiring, or in severe cases, cause costly damage to the vehicle's electronic systems. And the mistake doesn't require some complicated mechanical failure. It can happen in seconds, simply because a cable was connected to the wrong place or in the wrong way. So, what makes a Toyota hybrid's electrical system different from a conventional car? And why does that make the jump start procedure so important? In a conventional gasoline vehicle, the 12-volt battery supplies the electrical power needed to operate the starting system, including the starter motor that physically cranks the engine. A Toyota hybrid doesn't work that way. When you press the power button, the 12-volt system first activates the vehicle's computers, relays, and control electronics. Once those systems are operating, the hybrid system can command the high-voltage battery into service. That's why a Toyota hybrid doesn't need a conventional starter motor to crank the gasoline engine during a normal start. Instead, the hybrid transaxle's motor generator, MG1, can spin the gasoline engine electronically. This creates an important distinction. The 12-volt battery isn't directly cranking the engine. It's providing the electrical foundation that allows the hybrid system to wake up and take control. That's also why a hybrid with a perfectly healthy high-voltage battery can still be completely unresponsive when its 12-volt battery is discharged. The high-voltage battery may have plenty of energy available, but the computers and switching hardware that control that energy cannot operate until the low-voltage system is brought online, and this is where jump-starting becomes more than simply connecting another battery. You're introducing external electrical power into a network containing numerous electronic control units, relays, sensors, and protection circuits. So the way that external power enters the system matters, and that's what makes the next mistake particularly important. Now let's look at what can actually happen when a jumpstart connection goes wrong. The first danger is reverse polarity, connecting positive where negative should go, or negative where positive belongs. That can create an extremely high current flow through circuits that were never designed to handle it. Depending on the vehicle and the circumstances, the result could be a blown fuse, damaged wiring, or damage to an electronic control module. There is also the possibility of accidentally creating a short circuit. If a jumper clamp touches the wrong metal surface or bridges two points that shouldn't be connected, current can take an unintended path. And that's when you may see something you can't ignore: heavy sparking, arcing, or a jumper cable that begins heating up. If that happens, stop immediately. Don't try to correct the connection while the cables are still energized. Disconnect them according to the safety instructions for your vehicle, then verify every connection before attempting anything again. Another mistake is assuming that because the vehicle's terminals look similar to those on a conventional car, any convenient metal point will work. It won't necessarily. Toyota specifies particular connection points and grounding locations for its vehicles, and using an incorrect point can create unnecessary electrical risk. The important thing is that electrical damage doesn't require minutes of exposure. A bad connection can cause a fault almost instantly. And that's why the next step matters. Knowing exactly where Toyota wants those cables connected and following the correct sequence for your specific hybrid. The correct procedure starts with one important rule: follow the instructions for your exact Toyota model and model year. Toyota doesn't use one universal jumpstart procedure across every hybrid. Before connecting anything, make sure you've identified the correct jumpstart terminal and grounding point for your vehicle. On many Toyota hybrids, the positive connection is made at a designated terminal under the hood rather than directly at the 12-volt battery. This terminal is often located inside the engine compartment fuse box. For the negative connection, Toyota may specify a particular body ground or grounding point. Use the location identified in your owner's manual rather than choosing a random metal component. Also, check that the jumper cables are in good condition and that the clamps can make solid contact. Keep the clamps separated from each other while making the connections. Once you've identified the correct points, connect the cables in the sequence specified by Toyota. Typically, the positive cable is connected to the Toyota's designated positive terminal first, with the other end connected to the donor battery's positive terminal. Next, connect the negative cable to the donor battery's negative terminal, followed by the Toyota's specified grounding point. With the connection secure, follow the starting instructions for your particular vehicle. Depending on the model, this may involve starting the donor vehicle before attempting to put the Toyota into ready mode. When the Toyota reaches ready mode, verify that the ready indicator is actually illuminated before removing the cables. The cables can then be disconnected in the reverse order specified by Toyota, keeping the clamps separated throughout the process. After the cables are removed, keep them clear of the vehicle before closing the hood and returning the donor vehicle to normal operation. The procedure may look simple, but using the correct connection points and following the proper sequence is what makes a jump start safe. Once the vehicle is running again, there's still one final question. What caused the 12-volt battery to go flat in the first place? A successful jump start doesn't necessarily mean you've solved the underlying problem. The first thing to determine is whether the 12-volt battery can actually hold a charge. A battery may have enough energy to bring the vehicle back to life, but still be too weak to reliably power it the next time you need it. If the battery was simply discharged, the vehicle's 12-volt charging system can recharge it while the hybrid is operating. But if the battery is old, damaged, or has lost significant capacity, recharging it won't restore its ability to reliably hold that charge. Pay attention to what happens over the next few starts. Does the vehicle power up normally? Are the dashboard and electrical accessories behaving as expected? Do unfamiliar warning messages appear? If you notice multiple warning lights, unusual electrical behavior, or anything that wasn't present before the battery went flat, the vehicle should be inspected rather than assuming the jump start solved everything. Repeatedly finding a dead 12-volt battery is another important clue. If it happens again, the battery itself could be reaching the end of its service life. But there could also be an excessive electrical load while the vehicle is parked, or an issue with the vehicle's 12-volt charging system. And don't automatically blame the high-voltage hybrid battery. A discharged 12-volt battery and a problem with the high-voltage battery are two different issues, and one does not automatically mean the other has failed. The real lesson is that a jump start should be treated as a temporary recovery, not a diagnosis. Get the vehicle running, then find out why the 12-volt battery became discharged in the first place. That simple step can keep a dead battery from becoming a recurring problem and help you catch a developing electrical issue before it turns into a much more expensive repair. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.